everyone, we are going to do some card pulls on Emmanuel Haro. This is a 7-month-old baby that went missing. I think it's August the 14th. What happened is Rebecca, the mother, was in a parking lot, I think of a supermarket or a store, and she says she got hit, fell, and by that time Emmanuel was abducted or kidnapped. The father's name is Haro, and as I started this reading, as I was connecting on the camera, I had my phone in my hand, and I happened to open YouTube, and I saw a couple of thumbnails as I scrolled that said the breaking news, the parents are being arrested. I clicked on one of the videos that's like 4 minutes long, and boy, do the police like to make a massive addition when something's highly publicized. So that van for Jake and then the car for Rebecca looks normal, but that whole big military kind of van, similar to what they were doing with Luigi, that was a bit blown up. That's just my thought. The other thing is, a few days ago or a couple of days ago, can't remember, I posted on the community page that some of what Emmanuel's, I've called it impairments, although some people will say disabilities. I believe it's impairments and developmental, either physical and mental. Damage is done from the environment and what certain things that Rebecca was going through when she was conceiving and during her pregnancy. That does not outrule that the child was handled maybe roughly, inappropriately at certain times by what is known or what was going around, that the father possibly is abusive, because the father had abused his prior baby. I don't know if it's from Rebecca or previous wife, or if he has or whatever, to the point where she's, I think they said, brain damaged. I want to clarify that because I don't want comments that people are trying to be doctors saying no, there was nothing that happened during a pregnancy that affected the baby. This is probably shaken syndrome, whatever. The duration of the pregnancy, the conceiving, does not mean that nothing happened post. In fact, what happened post shows that the environment she was in was not necessarily a healthy environment. And if you think the environment that you're in does not affect your pregnancy and what happens to your baby, look at the care system. I'll take the UK. The kids that are in care that have schizophrenia, that are non-verbal, that are this or that, a lot of them come from what kind of background? A lot of them were taking weed or drugs at the time. And I'm not saying that Rebecca was, but I am channeling that in that house at one stage, whether they had a dosser, whether they had someone living with them or a family member, was on drugs. And I'm also not saying that this is the time. I think this was previously to a while before I'm getting Rebecca conceived, but it doesn't mean that there was absolutely no rugs in that house. I'm not necessarily getting the rugs energy around Rebecca. I think this is something gone terribly wrong, but not an accident of just really pushing your weight around, out of order accident, not just an accident that the kid, let's say you've got a 5-year-old, they stepped on a chair to get their cornflakes, they fell off, they banged their head, they thought that the person had passed, so they decided to do something with the kid, they were frightened, by that time the kid passed, so they've tried to cover it up. Probably a bit more than that. I also want to say is that if anyone thought that that black eye was fresh from that scene, you need to know that a black eye goes red within the first 24 hours. By 48 onwards hours. You could see 48 to maybe like 2-3 days. Bruising, that discoloration of the yellow will come around 5 days plus later, I believe. I am not a doctor, but I don't know how people find it surprising that they're only just tying it up. And I believe the story was strategized. I believe this baby, what happened to this baby is possibly on the 12th of August, so 2 days before. I believe that there's data that might have been deleted from their phones that they can extract via Cellbrite. I believe that we're going to get into the cards in terms of what happened, where he is, the energy, etc. I believe that, which I was surprised, and that's why I didn't do this reading earlier, because I thought abduction, but if they go to the house with the dogs, the cadaver dogs are going to pick up on red and possibly the scent of DEATH. Bearing in mind saying that, I do not believe Emmanuel was buried in that home, you know, because I think they said that they were checking it. I don't know if this is connected or not, if they were trying to dig the floors or not. I'm not sure about that, but it seems like that's something. But like, I just thought that this would be a quick case, and I guess it has moved fairly quickly, but I thought quicker. I also want to say that a lot of the way police are being able to catch people is down to the public. So congratulations to those of you that are sleuths, those of you that are, you know, this doesn't make sense, really onto it. Obviously not in a nefarious kind of way, but that really gets the police like questioning behavior and stuff. So when I saw Rebecca's thing, I could not watch it. I still can't watch it all, because I'm quite clairsentient, and yes, I'm rattled, because, well, I've clarified, and it wasn't anxiety, stress, upset that I was feeling from her. I was feeling suffocated because it was like she was holding her breath to portray herself as anxious and stressed. And I think I wrote this in a comment. And I thought the arrest was coming very, very quickly, very soon. I also feel an energy either of a relative or a close neighbor who's really on this case, trying to find out where and what happened to Emmanuel. I don't know who that is. I want to say they are male, but I don't feel that they're big butch male. They're a bit fragile. It could be that so by fragile, I don't mean they're young. I feel like they could be really slim, vulnerable in a sense or something, but they are older. They're not young. Yeah. So having said that, we want to look at what cards I get. I wasn't sure whether to do this, but at the same time, I'm realizing that even if other readers might have done this like a few days ago when it was still abduction or news, is that people like to hear it from certain channels or certain people that present stuff. So it doesn't mean if someone's done a reading or someone's done a covered this, even if it is a true crime, that if you're following several channels, that you wouldn't go to the person that you like the delivery of to watch a second or to watch what they have to say. So I've decided to do it. I don't know what is going to come of this. Like I said, it's the 22nd, it's early, and I just seen that it's breaking news. There's someone breaking news live that's going that they've been arrested, and I see the military kind of truck taking Jake. So having said that, let's get into the cards. Let's see what we get out of curiosity. I do think on the 12th though as well, the mother was having a massive emotional outbreak. That could be that something's going on in the home. It could be because of what happened to Emmanuel. I don't think he's in water. I feel like more earth, and that could be landfill. And when I say about landfill, one of the current cases that I have avoided reading on is because I think that kid was put in a landfill after the first place they thought. But we're going to see, right? So this is just without tapping in. This is just me setting up, thinking I'm going to do it. I think, you know, I don't get a sinister energy from Rebecca. I think she might have had some stable relationships or something. I don't know if she's older than, what's his face, Jake. I think this could kick up an investigation into something that's family, relative related. For some reason, I am getting that. But I do think that whatever they investigate is actually whatever was said is probably down the right road. Like if it's rugs or something, then it is the right road. It's not like someone has got rid of someone or something like that. So let's look at cards for Emmanuel. Heartbreak. Childhood gone from him. Hanged man. Let's just make sure they're upright. So it's not the DEATH card, but I think everyone's believing he is, and I do believe he is, but we don't get that card. We get his childhood's taken from him, and this could, you know, and there's a hanged man, which tells me his story has stopped. His childhood has stopped. His story of life has stopped. Let's look at Rebecca's energy. Rebecca during this time, right? During this, on this case. Rebecca on this case. I'm going to get 3 cards for each. So I believe this happened on the 12th. We'll look into that. And so I get the 7 of Swords, but behind it I had the Sun card stuck. I'm only taking what the first one. A load of cards drop out. I only want 1 more. Page of Cups. Let me tell you, I've got a lot of anxiety right now, and I feel like it's the energy of this case. So that is very unsettling. I've got the 5 for Rebecca, 5 of Pentacles, okay? She's not left out in the cold on this story. She knows what happened. I've got the 7 of Wands, very defensive. Really had to be defensive in this, and I feel like that's to do with the social media, but I feel like this is also showing that she's saying there was a fight or she got hit. There is this Queen of Pentacles here, which tells me obviously she is a mother, but I wonder if there's a grandmother who's spoken who knows a little bit more. Tell me about the Queen of Pentacles. Issues in the relationship, okay? And she's refusing to see those issues in the relationship. There's fear and there's resentment in her right now. I move on to Jake. Jake, we've got the Seven of Swords. So there's lies here. There's a celebration. And there's a Page of Cups in the reverse, which tells me is Emmanuel, okay? The interesting part here is the Three of Cups. So was there something of a celebrity happening in the home on that day? I feel like it's telling me three people know what happened to Emmanuel, which would be Jake, what you call it, Rebecca, and possibly another female. I do think that the police's strategy, so I've not even pulled cards, but I'm getting it. The police's strategy is to keep one in the dark, the other in the dark, and to, I think I put this in the post reply. I'm not sure if I did. I think Rebecca's going to crack. If they go about it the right way, she will crack. And they also need to make sure she feels safe to break. And I think the way they're going to go about it is, you know, play one against the other, but not so much play them as in saying about everything, but you're lying because this one said this. No, they're going to do it in a very indirect way, and they're going to do it by keeping them each in the dark on what each one is saying, but then a slight turn, not a total turn on each other. And they're also going to include the domestic violence kind of side element to get clues or spillage on what happened to Emmanuel. And that will be from both sides. So deterring from Emmanuel a bit at certain times to get spillage is what I'm getting the police's strategy. Again, I think three people know, and I think he was taken in a car somewhere, and then possibly they walked around something to place him. The whole process leading up to the day they announced or notified police and doing what they needed to do with Emmanuel caused a lot of anxiety. So if it was the 12th, they didn't sleep well for those few days. It's very interesting cards. I still don't have the Death card coming up, and I now want to pull more cards. So what I got is the Four of Pentacles. I got the Nine of Swords. I got the Chariot card. I got the Page of Pentacles in reverse. I got the Sun in reverse. I got the Three of Pentacles. I got the Nine of Cups. Okay. A burst of cards. I'm going to put them back and take the first one that fell out. Alone. which is child. So we're confirming a child. Healing. Okay, this card reminds me of the Idaho 4, because when I got this card, I said that house, that area really needs a lot of healing and cleansing, and I feel like the house is torn down before I knew anything about it. Beach. So this reminds me of where I feel, where I can see them. They're like walking across land trying to look maybe where to place him. So there could be water not far from it. It could be near a beach end, or there's water not far from there. This could also mean separately that something happened that rolled into motion. If they were at the beach, something happened at the beach that was rolled into motion to what later happened to him that day. So you know how they say Summer Wells was at that pool and then she left, she nearly drowned, and then there was things that because she was at that pool and it was so hot and stuff, that's what's happened. Dehydration, I don't know what. So I don't think he's alive. I don't necessarily, so this was going to take me to something I wanted to ask, because I don't think the fire next door, the arson, which by the way, if they've had arsons that live next door to them, that alone can affect when you're conceiving and when you're getting pregnant. By the way, I think the mother had an argument with the neighbours at one stage, but I don't get that the fire has, and I said it in the beginning, Emmanuel's in that, and I also don't get that, although the Seven of Swords has just shown up, there was nothing that ties this to get rid of Emmanuel, like evidence or anything, although for some reason I do get that it's like for example, in a car, you've got a car seat of a baby, you get rid of that. You at the home, you start to get rid of the stuff in the bedroom. I feel like they've done stuff like that, which is a bit fishy. Like getting rid of some of the stuff that even if it wasn't the clothes the baby was in or trying to conceal, it's kind of like, well, are you acting that the baby is no longer coming, which is fishy. So let's continue. So this I think confirms that he is in earth. I'm also getting that they might have tried to do something that not necessarily dismember, but dissolve, less intact, but I'm not sure if that actually worked out. So whether it's buying something of something, I feel like this is telling me earth. We've got the beach card just before it. I'm getting angry at these cases. I really am. Female power supply. So what you could do is look at somewhere barren that has like a power supply there as well. I definitely think there's stuff on the phones that they deleted. Intuition is where it's, and accident. abuse and neglect. The male then comes up, the cleanup comes up, the crime of passion, split the deck, the gift. Okay, now I just want to go on to the location tarot and let's see what we get with that. Do you know what makes me angry is I don't know what happened to this girl that he apparently abused. And I'm saying all the wrong things for YouTube, but for entertainment purposes only. But it's heartbreaking. I think this girl is lucky to be alive. I don't know how old she is. I think this girl is living but not living. So I don't think it's only just like a bit of brain damage, what I heard the other day. That fluid or something from being shaken. I'm so angry about that kid. I'm so angry about that kid. And then they turn up in a military van to get him. You should know someone like that is a wuss to try and get to a vulnerable kid. A man like that is a wuss at a time. Just get a police car. What is he going to do? We've got vertical transport, transit between floors, accessible and accessibility, elevator in reverse. So he's not on elevated land. And I think this says that he's not in a building upstairs either. And I don't think he's in a building. We get mountain, and I think it was also in reverse. But we've got here nature's, again, two cards that are talking about elevation in reverse. And I think the mountain came out in reverse. So they want to be looking at land. I don't think he's far. I don't think they travel by state. I get in reverse, we get Mystic Haven. So, I mean, to me that looks like gorgeously being on holiday, walking through like the streets where there's shops and cafes outside, but it's kind of like enchantment, hidden wisdom, but it's in reverse. So it's, to me, it's saying it's not a complex area to find him in. Here we've got home and comfort, so you definitely got clues there, and I think the cadaver really hits on that, what I said about red and stuff. We get jail, someone's going to jail, and we get a cemetery here. Do you know what I'm getting with this? I'm getting about the case that I said some people might start talking about a case that is related to them. Maybe it's a relative where, and also past incarcerations and justice and punishment of someone in this thing that has been to jail. Cemetery, I think it's to do with someone who has passed, which people might start to dig up. But I do think that this is, I don't think that they were taken out by the person. I'd do a separate reading on that. I think it's to do with drugs. I think it's to do with some, just not, yeah. This takes me to barren, like where I said check the, you know, sort of barren land where I see them. There could be some grass near it. Again, this is flat land. We got elevation in reverse, and we've got the ocean and the sea again. So there could be, again, there's a story, either they could have been at the beach during that time when something had happened that triggered what else happened to the final stage. There could be water nearby, okay, because we've got the sea, we've got the beach earlier. There can be a tracking here. So whether it's to do with a text message, there's some kind of tracking. And I also think there could be camera surveillance that picked the car up at a fuel station or something on that day or the day before or something like that, that would have clues to the timeline, as well as maybe not seeing, I keep wanting to say Jake, Emmanuel at the time. Okay, so I'm going to leave this here and let's see what comes of this. Yeah, if you enjoyed this, please do like, subscribe, and we shall go on to the next